But one of the really powerful, what I would call the sort of P for P, or the trifecta, some of you might be thinking about lots of things you could have as gifts and product for prospects. In our experience, these three things just tend to be the trump cards. So you want to have some kind of a book or a report or a template. Think of this as the free download, the thing that gets attention and gives immediate gratification. So an example of this would be when I launched here in the Americas for the first year of just opening up the market here, we just ran some ads to people to download the Capstone pitch canvas. And it had a blank page on the back with very little instructions. And we'd run an ad and people would download that. And we did that for a year or so. We maybe had 4,000 people download that canvas. But that essentially was the big thing to get the database started. Be happy to get a $5 lead every day of the week. Now, it was a very simple page, looked a little bit like this, picture of the canvas, picture of the report, few fields, that's it, opt in. 40% of the traffic that hit that site would download the canvas. And all it was designed to do was just get someone onto the database. It wasn't going to turn into a sale. If we could get them onto the database, we could then 7-Eleven for them. The purpose of the book report templates just to get a lead onto the database, and then email marketing automation do the 7-Eleven foring. And as it does, we're constantly bringing people back to things like join an upcoming workshop, take the KPI scorecard. Of all gifts and P4Ps you could create, if you can get people cycling through these three things, download something, do the scorecard to better qualify and better diagnose their problems, and then come to a intro presentation where I'll share how to become a key person of influence, how to start with why, how to get to Splitsville, how to put more bums on seats, how to get a cashed up business, whatever that destination is, that this is the 80-20 of what you need to maximize conversion from your audience. One of the frameworks we talk about is this idea of laps. Think of it as like, how many laps are you running in your business? LAP stands for leads, appointments, presentations, and sales. This is essentially the engine room of your sales and marketing activity. We generate leads, book appointments, do presentations, sales calls, whether it's one-to-one or in a group, and then we make sales. And so, ballpark, if you're selling anything of relatively high value, call it $5,000 or pounds, you're going to need to generate roughly about 70 leads to get 7 appointments booked in, to then do 4 to 5 presentations and make a sale. That's kind of about what it is. Some of you sit there and go, yep, I get that. We've got a more established business. We've got to generate a lot of leads. Totally understand that. Some of you will sit there and go, really? I have to generate 70 leads to make one sale? That seems mind-boggling. Top of the funnel is just so wide. The bottom is just so teeny tiny. Imagine there's a spectrum here where your prospects are at. This person's ready to buy. This person is kind of walking around with their blinkers on or a blindfold on, kind of completely unaware or oblivious to some of the pain points or the problems they've got, the outcomes they want. Could be a great customer, like potentially an ideal customer, got the blinkers on. So think of that spectrum. Now, there's sort of 2 zones to the market. There's this, what I'll call the dormant side of the market, that needs a little activation. They need some education. And, the reason we create this sort of package up this thought leadership content is because if we can turn a light bulb on for a dormant person, we can move them closer towards being ready to buy and wanting to become a customer. And then at this side of the spectrum, there's someone who's actively searching or looking for a solution. Instead of needing education, they're more kind of shopping around or evaluating a supplier to work with. So booking an appointment, shopping around, evaluating a supplier. And question for everybody is, if we think about these 2 ends of the spectrum, if we were to draw a distribution of where the majority of people are, in other words, which end of the spectrum has the big fat head or is bigger? Dormant or active? It's like there's a big distribution here and there's a small tail over there. Another way to show that is, there's a large portion of people over here in the dormant side and there's a small portion of people actively looking. Booking an appointment is someone's in the active zone. And again, if they haven't really sort of been very primed and pre-sold around your stuff, then they're definitely shopping around and comparing you against competitors, and they're going to be shopping on price and things like that, right? So ideally, you don't want to be compared to substitutes or your competition. They just want to see you as the obvious choice. It's like, I'm not going to compare you to anyone else because there is no other comparison. I'm bought into your way. And so to do that, we package up 7-Eleven for content, thought leadership ideas. We publish reports. meetings, we produce scorecards, we talk on podcasts. We get really good at pitching and communicating these thought leadership ideas and sharing them in a way that someone has a light bulb moment and an aha, and they recognize, this is the superior way. I know what I spoke about before. And that moves them to active, but they bypass the need to want to shop around and look around because they're bought into you. The LAPS framework looks like this. It's like leads, appointments, presentations, and sales. If you guys are really playing in this zone, then we want to step back and go, how do we just generate a lead back here with a compelling offer of a gift? And then we let the 7-Eleven 4 journey move them along to the point where they come to a signature presentation. They go, I love that. I'm going to book in for an appointment. They do the presentation. And because of all that journey they've been through, they're not shopping around and they're far more likely to convert into a sale.